Welcome to Discerning News, where we bring you current stories from a bigger picture perspective. The purpose is to inspire clarity and enthusiasm for your unique journey.
All right, welcome. This podcast, we're going to be, in this episode, we're going to focus on a theme, a key word, and that key word and theme is empower. Empower.
Which is the key word for the month of July and some of the materials that we
Energy
work with
and
through
overall concept.
that we work with in the Wayshowers College.
So let's start it off. So if I say empower from a big picture, what's the first thing that comes to you?
A feeling of I've got the capabilities, the energy. That's a big one for me. It feels like the energy to accomplish, to go get, to pick up, to create what I need.
And since we're all about discerning news, for me, empower is about finding stories and people in the world that give me a feeling of empowerment.
Yeah, to me, that the first impression I get is every opportunity, every moment, every situation is there for me. That to not forget that I chose to be here. And to be here it's a tremendous opportunity. It's not every soul has organized themselves to be here doing their work. So if I remember that, I'm empowered to do whatever I need and want.
Yeah, myself too, with again back to the discerning news or what's going on in the world. I can either be empowered by what I'm hearing, seeing, sensing of what's happening around me or in the world and in the news, or I can be disempowered. So for myself, I have to go back to what is my personal pivot? What is the energy? What am I working with for myself in my journey in this moment in time? Because honestly, some of those stories and reports that I hear out in the world may be to empower me.
Yeah.
And they may not look that way. So for myself, that's what I really recognize is what can empower me or what can disempower me that I'm focused on out in the world.
What strikes me is I said that when Tiger asked me, what does empower mean to you? And I felt the feelings of it, it struck me like, yeah, why do I ever think that I'm not empowered to go get what I need to get or create what I need to create, for my benefit and the benefit of others? But subtly, I buy into thoughts of not being fully empowered or thoughts of being disempowered. And so, interesting. I relate to that, I guess. How sensitive I am, to the environment. So that's what's great about, when we talk about spiritual work, for me, it's all about like, okay, I have this idea of being empowered. Yes, we all want to be empowered. You see that in the media. You see lots of coaches talking about empowering you. It's a word I've been using for decades for various things, in terms of business. Let's get empowered, almost to the point where it becomes a meaningless word to me. But as soon as you said, what does it feel like? What's your impression of that? I shared it. And amazingly, I get this insight. Oh, what's key? I can feel that I'm not fully committed to feeling empowered all the time. So what's getting in my way? Am I picking up from thoughts and feelings from the environment? Am I buying into concepts that I've been fed in my first 7 years or picked up, from my first 7 years? And this is what spiritual work is. It's not like hard work. It's just, let's take a look at that. Let's remove those layers so that I can be more me and be more free.
Right. So I can't fake it when it comes to that kind of stuff. This is what comes to me. I can't fake being empowered. I either feel it or I don't. It's kind of like inner authority. No one can give me inner authority. I have to actually feel it.
Is it one of those to be or not to be?
That's right. That's right. Again, you'll cook your noodle if you start thinking about it too much. But the one of the things that we are about, and if you're listening to this, you're probably about it too, is making sure there's a balance between my thoughts and feelings, right? And I live in a society that is really promotes the intellect and the high thinking, and it can even put down the concept of feeling, right? The unconscious mind. So having those in balance is a very critical to that sense of empowering. So that's one thing that comes to me right away. The other part of it, of course, is what I have, I can give. I can't give what I don't have. That kind of feeling. So when the word itself, empower, has a degree of implication that I'm helping other people, that I'm giving of myself, right? So if I really want to do that, if I want to pass on what I have, if I want to give that hand up and help people, be of service, then it's important that I start with the mirror. And sometimes I need to kind of pump myself up a little bit because I've had bad days. But the end of the day is, if I just come back home and remember who I am, where I came from, where I'm going, then it's so much easier to be of service, right? And I'm not worried about that after I give of myself, that what's going to happen to me, right? A lot of people are afraid to give because I'll miss something, I'll lose something, right? That's their in this program we talk about the fear of death, right? And one of the reasons why the founder had worked with the leaders of this program and introduced to them the AstroSoul program, because he wanted to make sure that they really, in their bones and their toes and their true feelings, they were not afraid of death.
We exist in a highly intellectual world, and often the feeling part where your inner wisdom lies gets left out. There's a way to feel more in balance with all parts of yourself. This way is by accessing a spiritual bigger picture of who you are as a soul. Check out the link in the show notes to access a free video series created by the Wayshowers College to support your journey and moving through this game of life. Your intellect and feeling parts will love it.
That there was no fear of separation, because if there's just a hint of that in me, I won't fully release and fully give of myself, right? I'll give with hooks. That's the bottom line. So that energy of remembering and restoring, good word, restoring who I am, where I came from, and where I'm going will give me the gift of giving, because I won't be afraid to release myself fully.
Yeah, so it's interesting with that. You said quite a bit there. The feeling.
Yeah.
So the feeling part, I think for myself, that's been a real big thing in the last few years that I've really been coming into understanding more about who I am as a soul and how my sensitivity, picks up perceptions and how I, have insights and et cetera, all the things that we do talk about in our programs and things. But recognizing that whenever, especially back to news, when I am checking out a news story or I'm hearing something going on in the world, I can almost immediately tell if that's truth and if they're empowered enough, if they've actually walked that talk of what they're saying or not. And I think this is a real benefit of understanding and feeling into who we are as a soul and having that truth and having that balance of the intellect and the feeling part, because then you have the inner authority to go, that is something I want to be involved in, or that is something I want to pass on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Well, an AstroSoul that Tiger mentioned is a department of the Wayshowers College, and we have programs. We have workshops and healing techniques and sessions to heal confusion and to help us remember who we really are. And sometimes we work with astro means universal soul rather than astral, which is kind of a limited thing. And anyways, so you begin to discover who you are as a soul from the bigger picture perspective. And I know for me, there's a lot of inner peace in that. There's a lot of ability. It helps me when I become more aware of that to trust the inner wisdom that I have and to accept people for where they're at, because I have a feeling like, I've been through that before. So I recognize that. So if you follow the links in our show notes, we can introduce you to some videos that can help you get started in becoming introduced to some of the programs we offer.
Yeah.
And I feel empowered sharing that.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad about that, Tom. Because that's what we're about, being empowered.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other things that I guess stand out to me with that energy of empower is, I'd say, acceptance and opportunity. Those two things together for me. For me, those two things really come together, because if I'm rejecting or rebelling against myself, but with people, right? I don't like the way that you are. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's that whole energy of I'll love that one, but not love that one, right? It's a lack of respect. But it's difficult for me to just feel that empower and share it and give it and pass things on, be of service, if I don't have that level of acceptance for people and I'm not seeing life as an opportunity, right? That we kind of talked about that before. But if those two things aren't clear to me, I'm going to find an excuse to disempower the situation.
Boy, the key word that comes into mind when you talk about acceptance and opportunity is stepping out of a victim.
Yes.
Mode. The victim. I'm a victim. You're a victim. We're a victim. Let's be a victim together. And V for
One
victim.
happy family.
Oh, we're confused.
As the Earth's crust shifts and changes, our lives do the same. One way to maneuver through the small and large moments that shake us to the core is by reviving your connection to spirit, gathering ways to cleanse your energy field, embracing spiritual awarenesses to give you a bigger picture, and knowing that you are not alone on your journey can be a great support. The Soul Quake Survival Guidebook is a great companion to meet you where you're at and support reviving your connection to spirit in earth-shaking times. Get your copy today through Amazon worldwide in paperback, ebook, or in audio, and begin embracing more clarity, inner peace, and enthusiasm for your life and what you've come to do.
And, again, back to people are where they're at. And so for myself and my environment, I accept being able to accept where people are at and move into opportunities when people maybe ask for support or are ready to maybe move out of the victim state. And that's, I think, what you're talking about, Tom, with some of the classes and the events that we do and the camps that we offer at the Wayshowers College. There's so much opportunity to truly accept where you're at, to empower you to a whole new level of understanding. And the thing I want to mention about that too is that it's not complex.
Yes.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
It's not complex. It's fucking simple. Ooh, I said the F word, but I did. It's simple. Tom doesn't like when I curse, but it's okay. We don't do it very often on the online here.
It's a special program.
It's special. I feel empowered. How do you feel? Do you feel empowered about that, Tom?
Well, what comes to me is, and what Spirit's suggesting that, reminding me of is, in some situations, I feel very empowered. I feel very confident. I feel successful. I feel like I got this. And, I just feel like I can cruise right through. And if I look at what are the qualities that I have that help me feel empowered, when I feel empowered, what is it that I do? Well, one thing is I feel free to communicate where I'm at. I feel free to communicate what I need. I feel free to communicate what I'm going for. And I feel free to ask people if they can help me or not help me. And so then I know where to go. I know what to do. And I feel free to get advice. But there's times where, as you were alluding to, Tiger, or you said it quite clearly, is why in certain situations I hold myself back.
Right.
And that's what I'm picking up on. So if I focus on the positive, when do I feel empowered? That's the best start. What are some of my habits when I feel empowered? And then it'll become more obvious to me when I don't feel empowered. If I'm afraid to communicate, like we were talking about in the green room, like something stimulates me and now I'm afraid to communicate, like, oh, what's Teresa going to think about that? I better, I'm supposed to,
And Teresa
all
will
this
say that
happens in a
word.
nanosecond,
that.
right? Yeah. And, or, the people that, and she's not even thinking about it. I mean, this is all my,
Right.
my thing. She says the opposite to me, kind of a thing. But obviously I've been conditioned. So those are habits I picked up in my first 7 years that don't work for me. So spiritual growth for me, I've often said, is just releasing the things that don't work and then working with my guidance and my true feelings to what do I replace that with?
Right.
What's the truth, the universal truth? What's the reality of my experience as a soul? To remind myself of that.
Let's get into that.
Okay.
This is going to be a good.
Dig
This is going to be a good podcast. Good episode. So let's get into that. So because I want to talk about release, that energy
Okay.
of release, right? And you were bringing up in the green room that I need to be focused on my positive qualities first. Right. They're in this society. We it just gets so much like, oh, let's go. This part of me is negative and bad. I'm going to put all this energy into that. And I need to do some of that. Right. That's the reality. But I need to come from the pivot point first of who I am, the power that I do have, and then go forward. Right. Otherwise, I'm not even working with what I have. I don't even draw from the reservoir of greatness that I've pulled together. I mean, if I'm just holding my physical body together, even just being here on planet Earth is a success. That's success. So now I just want to do better with my success. So that's I did that preamble just to say that's the baseline to start with. Okay, let's not focus on all the bad stuff yet. Let's say, okay, I'm pretty okay. I'm able to get around. I can articulate. I can do work, all this good stuff. Okay. Now let's talk about the parts that I want to release and replace.
Mm.
And so that energy of release, as a matter of fact, there's probably some links in the bottom that they have for the technique workshop called Embrace Workshop. And it goes through all these techniques. And one of them is called the release technique, and we usually do it as a team and when you're in person, but we've devised it for that you can do it by yourself, right?
Oh, great.
Do that release technique. But the point is that there's things that I have in my life that I'm not burdened with. I just am dealing with it or working with it. I can release it and replace it.
Wow.
And so if I want that to give that empower energy, I want to receive that empower energy, it also means that I need to be willing to release the stuff that doesn't work with that. Right? As we were talking about earlier, say, if I'm going to be someone who wants to be free, or I want to do this, or I want to be abundant, right? Or I want to have that good relationship, then I need to go in and say, all right, are all my ideas and concepts in accord with that? Is the orchestra of all the thoughts and feelings I have in harmony with a good relationship? Is all my thoughts and feelings in harmony with abundant life? If not, then all I need to do is say, okay, well, I've got stuff that does work, and say, these pieces here aren't working for me. I need to release that and replace it. So I know that's a little bit of a long thing, but that was what I wanted to get to.
Yes, what I hear you saying, Tiger, is I have to unload my baggage,
Yeah.
so
There
to
we go.
speak.
There we go.
And what no longer serves where I'm at now and what moving forward. And I think that's what I really noticed with a lot of people that we've worked with, is that a lot of people hold on to things and it's hard to let go of and release what no longer fits for them. So as you know, every single day, every single second, every single minute, we're different. And so I'm not the same person I was 2 seconds ago, and neither are you. And so in recognizing as your life moves forward and you're in a different place energetically, in a different place of maybe who you're with or the experiences you're having, releasing what no longer serves you is such a wonderful thing. I mean, I'm always about less is more, right, Tom? Because I'm like, get rid of crap. I don't want all this stuff in the house.
Yeah.
Less is more energetically. So as you're talking about concepts and things that we're holding on to, releasing those also gives your soul space to breathe.
That's it.
Oh God, I got chills on that one.
Two things that occurred to me, and one of them, the first thought that I had was why do I keep trying to prove a concept that's not working? I have an intellectual concept about something, and I just keep living these patterns. And if you've ever noticed that you go, this has come up for me before, I don't almost want to admit it, but I have to admit it to myself that this pattern, say money, say like you go through money and for some reason you don't want to look at the money. I've had that experience. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to find out it's not enough, or I get surprised, or my wife spent too much. And of course, that's my opinion right at the time, and vice versa. So like we all relate to this, So why do I keep, holding back on my communication? So why do I keep trying to almost prove something I picked up in my first 7 years? Like, I want to avoid conflict, always avoid conflict. So anyway, those are some, foods for thought. But, if I'm patient with myself, and we can have a little laugh about it, because think about it, the best comedians are the ones who talk about their troubles that everybody can relate to, and we just have to laugh about it because it's so universal. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that feels like, let's wind this down. Wind it down, wind it up, wind it.
Yeah. So I guess the wrap up for me on that
There you go,
particular
wrap up.
one is, there's a concept out there called reincarnation. Right?
I've never heard of that. But my
wait,
base
I
life
just had-
was.
Deja vu experience. I think I've heard that word before.
When people bring that up to me, I'm very quick to ask them, are you bringing yesterday's bad habits into today? That's my question to them. And I ask that of myself. Like when I don't feel great, I can track it down. I'm bringing yesterday into today because I can do anything I want with it. I'm empowered to do that. I'm continuing that energy, and I haven't released it. So that's that energy of, I am reincarnating. You're making that point. I'm having that reincarnation of the same thing over and over and over again.
It's called Groundhog Day.
Yeah, Groundhog Day, until I change it, right? And that is what they call in the business fear of success. There's something that wants to keep me from moving forward. It's an old idea that I have about myself. I don't want to release this old concept I have about myself for fear of something, that I might have to move forward, or I might lose friends, or I might something, might, right? It's the future. So coming back home to what do I really want and need, because that's empowering. When I come back to that feeling. And that brings me to the last piece, is that we talked about the keyword qualify. You qualify.
What?
You qualify for being empowered. You qualify for success. You qualify to be free. You qualify. Just by being here, you pass that test, right? So you're already qualified for the job. That's why I was saying I'm perfect for what I come to do. You qualify. So how empowering is that?
That is the ultimate of empowering.
Yeah, and it's just recognizing, how am I getting in my own way to keep me from feeling happy and free or empowered?
Yeah, and I guess for myself, my final wrap up would be that each of us has the opportunity to step into this energy of feeling, being, and expressing empowerment in your life, and recognizing, the sooner a soul and a person recognizes that this is within them, the greater and the more expansive their whole life will be and how much more fulfillment they will feel in what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's one step at a time. Be patient with yourself. I'm patient with myself. I try to be patient with myself. See, now I'm trying.
That word comes up a lot for you,
Yeah,
Tom. Patience.
yeah,
It's good.
Patient lately, and
Patience with my impatience.
That's right.
When it's not impatient, I'm impatient.
Yeah, and having patience with Teresa's impatience sometimes is another. Come on,
Whether you are a brand new or returning fan of his podcast, we appreciate you. We appreciate you listening to the episodes that we create every single week. If you would love to support us by continually creating great content every week, please consider liking, subscribing, and supporting us monthly. You can find the buttons below to do all the above. Cheers to you and moving into our 6th year of sharing through podcasting. All right. So is that a good wind up there?
Yeah. I guess my wind up is that to empower, all these key things that we talked about are key. That I don't need some big pedigree or some big fancy piece of paper to tell me that I can do what I've come to do. It's great to be organized. But the truth is I have everything I need to give of myself and to be happy and free.
And you can start at any time.
That's right.
Right now.
And any age.
After this
I haven't
podcast
lost
is over.
anything. That is such the confusion that I've somehow missed my timing. What a bunch of crap.
Or that I
Okay.
have to be forgiven. And, I am forgiven. I can start now feeling empowered.
So we hope this episode left you with a bit of feeling of empowerment on this summer series and our spiritual perspective, Discerning News. We look forward to bringing you more insights next week and sharing with you soon. Have a great day,
Hasta la vista.
baby. To keep the enthusiasm going, please like, subscribe, or comment below. We would love to hear from you.